Sometimes you find something online, maybe a guide or a system, and it just makes such bold claims you kind of have to look closer. And that's exactly what we're doing today. We're diving headfirst into, well, let's be honest, a pretty wild corner of the crypto world. Meme coins. If you've been online at all, you've seen them. These viral trends, crazy, unpredictable price swings, and those stories about people making fortunes overnight. They promise these massive gains, right? But for most folks, it just seems like a whole lot of confusion. So our source material today is this guide called MemeCoins Cracked, Ride the Crypto Waves to Profits. And it promises a simple system to make money in this really volatile market. It's definitely bold. Okay, let's unpack this thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see the appeal, can't you? Especially when a market seems so fast, so complex, like meme coins often do. A lot of people feel overwhelmed, right? There's just so much information, so much jargon. They're looking for a shortcut, something easier. So our mission today is really to dig into what this guide claims, not just the promises on the surface, but how it supposedly works. And crucially, what are the warnings? What are the caveats hidden in there that you, if you're thinking about this, really need to consider? We want to get to the core of it.
All right, let's start right there with that irresistible pitch. Because, wow, this guy doesn't mess around. Straight away, it hits you with stuff like, discover the fastest, easiest way to start profiting from mugging coins, no experience required.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one, how I turned $9.56 into $138.02 in just minutes without any crypto trading experience. I mean, honestly, it sounds almost too good to be true, doesn't it? Like, what's the psychological hook here for someone new to all this?
Well, that too good to be true feeling is part of it, paradoxically. It taps into that desire for easy wins, for quick results. What's really striking is that focus on big returns from tiny investments almost immediately. And they couple that with this idea of risk-free and low-cost entry. Now, that's powerful. If you're someone feeling maybe intimidated by crypto, thinking you need loads of cash or, a computer science degree, this guide basically says, nope, forget all that. We've made it super easy, just follow the steps. It tackles those fear points head on. The risk, the complexity, gone. Or so it claims.
They really push that zero crypto experience needed angle. And the idea, you can start with as little as $2. But hold on, how does that square with the reality? I mean, promising minimal risk alongside huge ROIs. Isn't that confusing for a beginner? Seriously, how can someone who supposedly knows nothing about crypto navigate this market, which is famously risky, with just like $2?
That's a really critical point. And it creates this tension. See, when the guy talks about minimal risk, it seems to be focusing almost entirely on the small amount of money you put in initially, like that $2 or the $9 example. It even says something like you don't need thousands, just a bit of Solana or stable coins on Solana, which it calls Solana dollars, and you just need to follow the steps. But, and this is the key thing you have to grasp, that low entry cost doesn't magically erase the market risk. Meme coins are incredibly volatile. You could easily lose everything you put in, even if it's just a few dollars. The guide makes entry sound less scary, but the inherent market dangers, they're still there. Those specific examples, like $4.33 brought me $79.29 in just a few minutes, or $9.56 to $138.02, they're designed to build that instant confidence, make you think, wow, quick wins.
It sort of distracts from the bigger picture risks.
All right, okay. So the low entry is the hook. But the big question remains, how? How does this guide say it helps you achieve those wins? What's the actual method? They call it the secret manual method, and they're very clear it's not bots, not fancy software. So what's involved in doing it manually, according to them?
Yeah, that manual method part is interesting. It suggests, human insight, not just algorithms. The guide promises step-by-step, beginner-friendly training and a proven trading formula. It claims to break it all down into simple steps, no confusing crypto talk, from finding a coin to taking your profits, supposedly all laid out clearly. And that's appealing, right? It makes it sound manageable, less chaotic than the market often seems.
Okay, so what are these simple steps then?
Well, they outline 3 main ones. First, identify a profitable meme coin using my personal secret filters and free software. Second, identify when to ride the wave for maximum profits, basically timing your entry. And third, take your profits quickly before the meme coin goes to zero. So getting out fast. Okay. And the whole idea, according to the source, is that it's all about timing, buzz, and market momentum. The method supposedly helps you jump on those viral trends, understand the community hype.
Secret filters and free software. That sounds intriguing, but also a bit vague. What might that actually mean in practice in this space?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The guide itself is vague, but generally secret filters could mean anything from looking at specific patterns on charts, maybe checking on-chain data like who's buying big amounts, or even just tracking social media sentiment very closely. And free software. That likely just means using standard publicly available tools, charting websites, maybe blockchain explorers like SolScan or something, things anyone can access. So the secret probably isn't the tool itself, but rather how they claim you should interpret the data from those tools, a specific strategy or judgment call.
Ah, okay. So it's less about hidden tools and more about a specific way of looking at public information.
Exactly, which, is easier to promise in a guide than it is to actually master consistently, especially for a total beginner.
That makes sense. And it links to something else the guide talks about, the problem most people face. It mentions stuff like people buying after a coin is already pumped, so they're too late. Or losing money to scams, bad trades, wasting time trying to figure it all out alone, common issues. So how does MemeCoins Cracked claim it solves these problems?
Well, the solution it presents is this proven manual method. It's positioned as the way to avoid those exact pitfalls. It specifically mentions a coin selection hack to find promising coins before everyone else piles in. And importantly, it claims to help you avoid rug pulls. Those scams where the developers just disappear with the money.
Oh yeah, definitely heard of those. Nasty stuff.
Very nasty. So the guide is saying, use our method and you won't get caught out by bad timing or outright fraud, which understandably sounds pretty good to someone worried about those things. It offers a sense of security.
It frames itself as the shield against those common fears. That's smart marketing. Now, there's also the creator's story, Demetris, right? He shares his personal journey. He says things like, I know how overwhelming the meme coin market can feel because I've been in your shoes.
Right.
And that he spent months studying, testing, figuring out what worked and what didn't until he saw a pattern. That personal angle, it adds a layer of credibility, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Makes it feel less corporate, more real. But how much of that is genuine story versus, a standard marketing tactic for these kinds of products?
That's a very sharp question. Because yes, that narrative, I struggled, I lost money, but then I cracked the code. It's incredibly common and effective in this space. Demetris mentions losing over $2,000 plus before he developed this simple, repeatable manual method. He contrasts his method with bots, guesswork, risking big money. And then he provides those specific examples of wins, turning $9.70 into over $58, $18.89 into $120, to $132, citing these really high percentage gains, like over 500%.
Oh, those are specific numbers.
Exactly. They make it concrete. So the whole story builds this, if I did it, starting from where you are, then you can too message. It humanizes the whole thing, makes the secret seem like something discovered through hard work, not just made up. It definitely builds trust and makes the claims feel more achievable for the learner.
Yeah, I can see how that works. Okay, so beyond the story, the guide lists 4 reasons why choose MemeCoins Cracked. It calls itself a comprehensive all-in-one solution, mentions precise market targeting, being beginner-friendly, and having that built-in coin selection hack. Does it mention any other specific tools or resources to back that up, like free platforms or risk management strategies?
Yes, it does. It pulls these elements together to paint a picture of an ultimate solution. It promises things like 100% free, proven trading tools and specific timing secrets, knowing exactly when to get in and out. The risk management strategies are framed as the way you protect your money while chasing high returns, which sounds essential in this market. It also apparently includes over-the-shoulder video guides and even a daily profit blueprint. The whole package is designed to feel complete, like you won't need anything else. It's all about empowering the beginner, making them feel self-sufficient, and removing any excuses for not succeeding.
Right. The everything you need in one box approach.
Yeah.
Makes sense. But, and this is a big but we need to highlight, the guide also has those disclaimers.
Yeah.
Right there at the bottom. Disclaimer, not financial advice. And the creator himself says, I'm by all means not a financial advisor. I'm merely showing you what has worked for me and what can be possible for you. That changes things quite a bit, doesn't it? How should someone, especially a beginner, process that alongside the promises of risk-free profits and huge returns? It seems contradictory.
It is contradictory, or at least creates significant tension. And yes, it's vital for you, the listener, to really zero in on this, that not financial advice disclaimer is standard, and it's legally important. It separates the educational content, here's what I did, from regulated advice, here's what you should do. So when the system talks about minimal risk and generating huge ROIs, remember what we said earlier, the minimal risk is framed around that tiny initial stake, maybe just a few dollars. It does not mean the meme coins themselves suddenly become less risky or less speculative. They absolutely don't. The guide even admits this indirectly, stating things like, I cannot guarantee overnight profits as your success depends on the coins you choose and the effort you put into learning. And it mentions potential losses, but not enough for you to risk your money, again linking risk back to the small starting sum. So it's a crucial admission tucked away. It confirms that the system isn't magic. It still requires effort, judgment, and carries real market risk. The bold promises grab attention, but these caveats are the reality check. It's that classic dance between exciting marketing and the less exciting truth of speculative markets.
That difference between low entry cost and high market risk is key then. Definitely something to keep front of mind. So let's try and sum up what we've learned from digging into MemeCoins Cracked. It's basically pitching a do-it-yourself manual system for beginners. The promise is fast, supposedly consistent profits from meme coins, starting with very little money. The core idea is using its method based on timing, buzz, and momentum to spot trends early and get out quickly. The creator's own story of losing money, then finding this secret pattern as weight, along with those examples of small stakes turning into, hundreds of % gains in minutes.
That's a good summary.
And it presents itself as this complete package, the ultimate solution with secret filters and free tools to help you pick winners and dodge scams, all without needing prior crypto knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
But as we've really emphasized, all these exciting claims sit alongside that critical disclaimer. This isn't financial advice. The creator shows what worked for him, not what will work for you.
Exactly. And connecting that back to you, the listener, what this really highlights is that ongoing tension you see everywhere in crypto education. You have these really seductive claims, fast money, easy system, no experience needed, right next to the legally required warnings that, hey, this is education, results aren't guaranteed, and yeah, you could lose your money. This particular guide tries to bridge that gap by focusing on the low initial investment and the proven manual method, but those underlying market realities. Extreme volatility, the chance of losing everything you put in, those don't go away. It's a balancing act, and anyone looking at systems like this needs to be aware of both sides.
So it requires a healthy dose of critical thinking from the learner.
Absolutely. Which leads us to maybe a final thought for you to chew on. Given how incredibly fast and volatile meme coins are, and you have these promises of a secret manual method for consistent, explosive profits, what does it really take to succeed there? Is just following a prescribed system, any system, ever going to be enough? Or does sustainable success demand something more, like a much deeper grasp of market psychology, a really solid personal approach to risk, and maybe a commitment to continuous learning that goes way beyond what any single guide can offer you? It kind of shifts the focus back to personal responsibility and ongoing education in such a, let's face it, potentially brutal market.
That's a powerful question to end on. What does it truly take beyond the promises? Definitely food for thought. Okay, that's all the time we have for this deep dive into MemeCoins Cracked. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you on the next one.